not sure we should do this yet.
Do what?
Well, I mean, I like you and I want to spend the night with you.
Do you mean sleep over?
Well, yeah.
Okay. But I get to be on top.
I don't know about you, Badway, but I'd love to sleep over there. I call top bunk.
I mean, yeah, it's a dream, but like, why does she want to sleep over there? She doesn't even know it's in there yet, Drew.
That's true.
What does she want? What does she think's gonna happen in there?
I thought they were gonna play some pinball, jump on the trampoline, get some sodas.
I mean, yeah, they could wrestle on the trampoline. Absolutely. A lot of room for activities there, Drew.
Well, what kind of activities is the real question, but
I mean,
I think he's excited.
The kind of activities that you might injure yourself if you're on the top bunk. Put it that way.
You don't want to fall off.
You don't want to fall off.
Well, welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. This is episode 105. We're finally getting to this movie, which we'll talk about in a second. If you're new to the show and you just found us, you can check out our website, thelastrowpodcast.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever your social media account is. Check us out. Head out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. Please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Hit the subscribe button. Welcome back, Badway. I'm excited about this one.
The Last Row Podcast is always on the top bunk of movie podcasts. Whatever that means.
Put that on the movie cover.
Whatever you make of that. But today we're doing big, Drew.
It's a big podcast.
Did you ever want to be big?
Oh, yeah. Every day.
Did you ever wish to be big? 1988, June 3rd to be exact. Where were you on June 3rd, 1988? Were you in the theater?
The summer of June 3rd, 1988. It's a hot summer.
It was a hot summer day in June. Runtime, hour, 44 minutes.
It's
just
about
right.
right. Maybe 2 minutes too long.
Yeah. I mean, we all can't be 100 or less, Drew. It's got to, we got to take the 1-0s, we got to count them like the 99s.
If we ever started a new podcast, it should be 100 or less.
100 or less, yeah.
And then
100 minutes or less. I mean, that's the title right there. I mean, geez.
There you go.
Canceled. Last Row's canceled. New podcast coming next week.
Where were we in 2014, not realizing that we'd have little time in 2022? So.
How many movies we'd have a clear parameter of what movies to watch because it'd be an hour 40 or less.
If we ever introduce seasons to the Last Row Podcast,
copyright. Nobody take that. Copyright.
If we ever introduce seasons, we could do a season of 100 or less.
Yeah, maybe the summer. Maybe the summer of 100 or less. Drew.
There you go. Maybe that's it.
Copyright. Nobody takes it. I can just say copyright and it's copyrighted, right?
There you go.
Is that how the law works? That's how the law works. Trademark. It's a comedy bromance
for sure.
Showmance. Directed by Penny Marshall, Drew. Do you know who Penny Marshall is?
I'm familiar with the name. She did a couple other big movies.
She directed a movie called A League of Their Own.
Yep. Great movie.
Among others that I'm not going to name, but she's a good one. Metacritic, IMDb, Letterboxd. Drew, if I were to tell you this movie was IMDb'd at 7.3 out of 10%, would you call me a crazy moron? It's too low.
I would call whoever put it at 7.3 a crazy moron.
I mean, I didn't vote for it for 7.3. That's crazy. 97% Rotten Tomato.
Too low.
Again, 73% Metacritic. These people in their 73s.
Way too low.
Letterboxd, 3.6 out of 5.
That's egregious, in my opinion.
What are we doing here? I mean, let's just throw this stuff. Remember like back in like 2014, 2015, where I was like mad at Rotten Tomatoes and all these sites, and there was the site to not be named.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cause for another boycott. This is ridiculous.
97 is too low too.
This movie is nothing short of a delight.
It's perfection.
It's just
what
a
it
delight.
really is. And I gotta look up these Letterboxd reviews because if you gave this below a 4, like, don't even talk to me right now.
And maybe when we started, we used to be a quote unquote bad movie podcast, or we used to do movies that were not critically well received. I think we might have said back in the day, but obviously that changed along the way. And this is one of these cases where we're just going to do a delightful movie.
Yeah.
Because we want to. And
I want to watch it. So let's do it.
And we want to talk about a 12-year-old in an office setting, because that's what we want to do here.
In a 30-year-old man's body.
Yeah. In a 30-year-old man's body who may or may not have been taken advantage of by a 27-year-old woman. Anyways, after a wish turns 12-year-old Josh Baskin into a 30-year-old moron, He heads to New York City and gets a low-level job at Macmillan Toy
Man,
Company.
that's a burn right there.
Yeah.
To all data entry specialists.
Yeah. A chance encounter with the owner of the company leads to a promotion testing new toys. There should be a comma there. I said that weird.
Yeah.
Soon, a fellow employee, Susan Lawrence, takes a romantic interest in Josh.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, well, you know. However, the pressure of living as an adult begins to overwhelm him, and he longs to return to his simple former life as a boy.
Does it really? Because I don't think it really did overwhelm him until his friend put the fear of hey, you're messing with me, man.
Yeah.
You're not being a good friend. I think he was living a pretty good life there. He didn't seem to be too conflicted until the very end.
And does anyone like under the age of 15 or maybe even 17 long for anything? That seems like to long for something, Drew. That seems more intense.
If you're longing for something, you're sitting there, you're staring at a picture of it. Like, does he have a picture of himself as a 12-year-old boy again, staring at himself?
It's like the Wolverine, meme.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what.
That's him, Josh Baskin in the Wolverine bed, staring at a 12-year-old picture of himself.
That Wolverine meme is the picture, is the quintessential definition. It's the visual representation of longing. Exactly.
Yeah. All right, taglines. Let's see about these. You be the judge, and you out there all listening, all of the audience here. You be the judge.
No. I'm the judge.
You're the judge. You're the judge, jury, and executioner of these things.
Right.
So
I'm going to execute these taglines.
I'm imagining you as Sylvester Stallone with a little helmet on right now. Or actually, he's too famous. You got to take the helmet off.
I am the Lou.
Taglines. You're only young once with an exclamation point at the end.
Okay. I mean, it's.
Or is that like yelling? I guess Caps would be yelling.
You're only young once. You're only young once. Next.
Remember, ... When buddies were buddies, girls were a mystery, and you couldn't wait to grow up? The question mark.
Do I remember?
Am I butchering these? It's like midnight.
No, they did. But like, it's okay.
It's all right.
Fine. Sure.
Have you ever really had a big secret? With a question mark again.
I mean, that's. I don't like where that's going.
It's one way to put it.
Yeah.
So it's what happened in the dark, or actually in the light when you turn the lights on. That's the secret. A wonderful new comedy.
I mean, that's just true. I don't know. It's just true. I don't know if I'd put it on the box, but it's true.
You're only young once, but for Josh, it might just last a lifetime. That's an ambiguous one there.
Yeah, I don't know, because like you got to think about the science of this, because like if he's like young, right? He's 12. And then he's big.
He's 30.
So he's going to be like 18 years behind. But like, so when he's 50, he's still going to be 32. So I guess he's still young. I don't know.
Do you ever say like people tell you, oh man, that thing aged me a lifetime?
Yeah.
This thing literally aged him a lifetime.
Yeah, I guess like, yeah. If we do math about it, yeah.
He's got dog years.
He's young for a lifetime. But I don't like any of these, really.
The last one is the worst one. Yesterday, Josh wanted everything in life. Girls, money, cars.
Did he want money?
Did he want cars?
Did he want cars?
Today, all his wildest dreams have come true. That sounds like a movie about a bank robbery, doesn't it?
I don't think his dreams came true, because like I don't think he was happy for a second that he was big.
None of these are good. You know what? I think maybe the best one is you're only young once.
Yeah, you're only young once.
That's the best one.
Maybe there should be a question mark there. You're only young once?
Once? Yeah, well, I guess he's going to be young twice, because he got old and then he's young again. He's going to get old again, so he's old. You're only young twice, and you're only old twice.
All right, there we go. Final decision. You're only young twice. Put it on
financials. 18 million budget, 151.9 million. Badway. This thing was a little bit of a success.
Bang. They spent all that money on his apartment.
All those greedy executives are sitting there going, yes.
Bring me the monies.
They don't care about the movie itself. They just made that fat stacks on this investment here with Tom Hanks.
Hell yeah, man. Cash cow.
So, and speaking of Tom Hanks, did you know, Badway, that he was nominated for Best Actor for an Academy Award?
I honestly didn't know until you told me like 20 minutes ago, and it blew my mind, because I didn't think that the Academy would like recognize this movie.
Do you think he should have won? He lost to Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man.
No, because what are you going to do? You can't.
I mean, Rain Man is a great
Rain
movie,
Man, I mean,
and
Rain
Hoffman's
Man.
great. You got Tom Cruise. It's a
Robert
great
Downey
movie.
Jr. might have thoughts as to why Dustin Hoffman won that role.
And that's more of a serious movie instead of a comedy. And I feel like they're not going to give it to a comedy, even though this had some serious moments.
No.
But
and Tom Hanks is young, they like to nominate him all the time. And this was, I'm assuming, his first.
This was 88. It was his first nomination, and then
Yeah.
he won 2 Oscars after this. But
yeah, like he's young. Like they're going to give it to Dustin Hoffman.
is this the same year as The Burbs? Because I think The
Working.
Burbs was 88 too, wasn't it?
I feel like Tom Hanks was in every movie from like 1986
Joe
to
versus the
1988.
Volcano. He's
Dragnet.
great. Yeah, Dragnet. It was right after that, I believe,
Yeah.
too. And it's funny. So I don't know. There's a couple other pieces of trivia that I'll just call out. I don't really know where they fit in the episode, but the one thing that I thought was interesting, and I'm curious what your perspective is on this. There was something on IMDb that said to give Tom Hanks an idea how a 13-year-old boy would behave, director Penny Marshall filmed each grown-up scene with David Moscow, who was playing the young Josh, who played Hank's part. And then he copied Moscow's behavior. Hanks would go on to do something similar in Forrest Gump in 94 when he would spend time with the young Forrest and imitate his Southern accent to prepare for the part. Do you think that's true?
No.
Or do you think that's IMDb
I
fabrication?
think
here?
that's a bunch of bull crap. No, I don't. That first of all, that would take forever. And second of all, this kid, young Josh, David Moscow, he's not an actor on the level of Tom Hanks, even back then. So it's like, how is Tom Hanks going to learn acting? Like, you know what I mean?
He had to de-learn it.
But put the kid in a fake setting on a set. It's like it's not like real observation.
He had to de-learn it. It's basically, he had to unlearn acting.
It makes like no sense. It's like reverse method. I don't know.
Do you think it's cheating to do that too? Like, is he cheating? It's like he's copying exactly what was happening.
All acting is an open book test.
Yeah.
You just got to take what
it's like, let's do this scene, observe it, and then copy it exactly.
Everybody wants you to get the right answers. Like there's no secrets.
Well, and I thought the other piece here was, so this is also notable for containing the F word in a film rated PG during the PG-13 era, which is also on par with Beetlejuice, Caddyshack 2, and Spaceballs. We need more F-bombs in PG movies. You know,
it's effective. The way it was used in this movie, it was very effective. The one time, it's like, whoa.
Save it. You save it.
Serious.
And it means a lot when you hear it. So let's talk about Tom Hanks, right? We talk about him as an actor and his performance in this. Does this movie work without him? And I have a very specific reason for asking you, but does this movie work without him?
It's an iconic role. It's one of those roles where you don't imagine another actor taking his spot. So are we trying to recast it, or were they not happy with Hanks?
It was almost a scenario, and I don't know how true this is, but it was on IMDb, and I'm just going to kind of name some actors, but the one that was actually supposed to be pretty serious was Robert De Niro. So apparently Robert De Niro was almost in this movie as an older Josh Baskin. Like, I want to talk about him specifically, but I'll name some of the other actors and we'll come back to him. Yeah. But Robin Williams, who obviously can do this because he was in Jack, I think it could have worked with him. But then you got John Travolta, Dennis Quaid, Steve Guttenberg, Bill Murray, Judge Reinhold, Michael Keaton, Albert Brooks, John Goodman, Gary Busey, and Jeff Bridges, among other names.
Well, are we just going to name every actor from the 80s? Let's just...
I think the ones that were supposed to be pretty serious was apparently De Niro was supposed to be in this, but he wanted more money than they were willing to give him, and they couldn't afford him. So, like, I don't know. There's something about Tom Hanks in this. He has a childlike innocence as an actor. And I think De Niro is too old to have that and make it work in the same way that Hanks made it work for Josh. I don't know if you agree with that.
It's ridiculous. I don't even believe it, to be honest. Like, I feel like maybe his name was tossed around in the beginning, but I seriously doubt that it was like actually, offered to him.
It wouldn't have worked, right? Yeah. I mean, how could this movie work with him? Like, is there anyone else on that list besides Robin Williams that you think could have done it? I don't think so.
Well, maybe Michael Keaton. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
because Bill Murray's too old. Judge Reinhold's, just a guy.
He's 280.
He's a side character.
He's whatever.
Yeah. Steve Guttenberg's too Gutenbergy. He's weird. Right? Dennis Quaid's just a dad.
Where's your boy John Cusack on this list?
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at.
Screw him.
Michael Keaton played the hell out of a snowman, so I think he could play a 30-year-old.
If you can do snowman, you can do 30-year-old boy.
It's just, I don't know. I said it before, the childlike wonder that Tom Hanks is, the whole I don't get it scene. Can you imagine Michael Keaton doing that? He'd be more like eccentric with it. And I think Hanks played a child very well.
Yeah, he has a boyish
body.
He has a boyish charm and an
Yes.
innocence to him. Yeah.
I don't know that any. And Robin Williams, who said Jack, obviously was a great movie, and I think he played that pretty well. And I like that movie a lot. It's a very underrated
93,
movie.
94.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's kind of dark of a movie. But Dennis Quaid, I mean, isn't he like 40 at this point? Like 45?
He's like a dad. Like, what are you gonna do with Dennis
John
Quaid?
Goodman and Gary Busey? Come on.
Man. They're just naming names. I don't believe any of this. What are we doing here?
Is there anyone on there that wasn't on there that you would have liked to put in there?
I don't know. You named pretty much every single actor from the 80s, so I don't know. Eddie Murphy?
Where's Keanu Reeves at?
Eddie Murphy could have done it.
Yeah, where's Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves was babyface back then.
I don't know. Let's talk about the movie then. So the Zoltar machine and this whole wish. Obviously the setup for this is that he's trying to get on this carnival ride. He can't get on because he's not tall enough. Is that what big actually means when he says, I want to be big? Is that how you took it?
I don't think he wanted to be 30 years old at all. I think it was a giant mistake, right? It's almost like a wish from the devil.
I immediately regret this decision.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't want to be 30. He just wanted to date the girl and maybe like be like 4 inches taller.
What if he said like, I wish I had a car? Then what would have happened? Because she said she liked that guy because he drives. He drove, right? That was his thing. He drove. And how old was she? Was she like 15 too? Like,
I don't know. Like,
because he's 12.
Her boyfriend was at least 16.
Yeah.
So I mean, she better not be 12.
That's a predatory situation there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
There's a lot of this going around in this movie, Drew. There's a lot. I mean, maybe IMDb has a point here.
There's a lot of undertones.
7.3. You know,
there's a lot of take back your perfect score.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you wish for if you had this Zoltar machine and you're him? What would you wish for? What did anyone else wish for?
I don't know. What if I wish to be small, Drew? What would they give me?
would you turn into a baby or would you become microscopic?
Well, you know what I mean? Like to equate big with older and I wish to be small with younger, right? Wouldn't they shrink me or would they de-age me?
Yeah. I'm imagining
big.
You like
I wish
Ant-Man.
to be big, so let's just age you up.
What if you turn into like literally a giant? Like, you know, I'm thinking about Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, like a giant baby.
Yeah.
Like he breaks out of his house.
Yeah.
Like that's what big is. I don't know. What would you wish for?
Well, in his case, I would be like, I wish that Whitney would like me or whatever the hell her name is.
I wish I was more mature.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I had a car. That's a good one.
It's kind of
thinking like in his terms, like, you know, not just, I don't think he'd wish for $1 million. I mean, he should, but he won't.
That's what he should have wished for. But I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. This machine it was like a wishful thing. He was like a depressed moment.
But the devil's going to get you no matter what, right? I mean, this thing is powered by the devil, right? I mean, you wish for $1 million, he's going to have $1 million in his bed in the morning, but like the money came from the bank robbery that happened last night, right? It's like in the Mask where he robs the money, he doesn't know how the money came and he robbed it. It's no matter what you do, you know, he's going to wish for a car and like he'll get a car in the morning, but it'll be like part of some like murder investigation, you know, but it's in his name somehow and like, oh, it's going to be a thing. Like the devil's going to twist it.
This thing definitely had some satanic qualities about it. It had the red eyes. It had that weird sound that's like, like the weird breath sound as the face was opening and closing the mouth. Like, what did you think of this? So I've seen this since I've been a very young kid. Did you see this growing up? Was this a movie that you saw, and did this thing freak you out when you were younger?
No, I was not big when I saw this. I was very small.
Even though you might have wished you were.
So small, in fact, that, you know, I had to like cover the TV when the boob's showing.
Get your uncle standing in front?
Yeah. No, it totally freaked me out. It's clearly from the occult, this machine.
It's in Ray's occult. Like Ray would be seeking this thing out.
He would have it in his store. Absolutely. You know, found it in Tobin's Spirit Guide. Yeah, totally. It totally freaked me out as a kid. Like, not so much that I couldn't watch the movie, but like definitely like I don't like that thing kind of thing.
Do you think that the level of difficulty of getting the coin into the mouth was on like too easy or too hard for the fact that it would fulfill any wish that you had in your life?
I want to know, like, is he the only one to have won this game, or there's people all over the place just getting wishes?
Have you ever played like a game where I remember back in the day, you go to Tilt or the arcades where they have the coins and you've got to make the coin do something, whether it's like flip it onto a platform or roll it down something and you get like 1,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Was this on par with that or was it harder? Do you think could you get this in the mouth of Zoltar?
This seems easy, right? It's almost like trial and error type thing where you might miss it the first time, but like after 2 tries, you're like, okay, I get it. I get the timing, and boom.
I mean, he only had one coin, I suppose, but you know, he finds out that this thing wasn't plugged in. He thought it was plugged in. It's on the end cap of this like arcade row, I guess.
Mhm.
Do you think it's powered by the devil? Is that what we're supposed to
It's
be
black magic.
thinking
It's
about?
definitely satanic issues involved, because it gave him what he wanted times 1,000, to the point where he couldn't do anything with it besides it ruined his life.
I know we made a side band called Emotep, and we made sort of an emo band called Emotep. I think we need to do a death metal or black metal band called Zoltar, and I think we could, you know, the album could be called One Wish, or it could be big. We got to have some type of death metal or black metal band called Zoltar, and I'm sure we could create an album for that. I'm sure.
Track 1, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we need. I don't get it. So having said that, do you think that this thing was in his head? Was this whole movie in his head? Normally I would ask that at the end. It could be a dream.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he like got onto that whip roller ride that he was too short for. Maybe he got on anyway, and like it really did injure him. He was in a coma, and this is all a dream.
He died.
I mean, that's the only way it's not from the devil.
Yeah, that the carnival guy let him on, and clearly he should have been 3 inches taller.
It's like Final Destination. It's like the whole movie is like the other thing of what happened if everything goes through, and then like we zoom back, and then he didn't get on, and he cheated death.
Let's talk about the actual fulfillment of this wish. So he wishes to be big. He gets big.
He got big, all right.
Literally, he's big, and he becomes a grown man. A 30-year-old man, I guess. And I guess that's how old Tom Cruise was.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the science of this. Now, is this like an 8-hour process that he's got to get a good night's rest to have this wish fulfilled? Is this like snap the finger, like it happens?
See, yeah. I thought we were dealing with like a Groundhog Day situation, to where it's like, you get to go to bed and you wake up, and then it happens. But when he wished to be a kid again, he kind of like changed to like, in a couple hours, a car rides home away, really, in front of his,
as he was walking,
in front of his girlfriend's eyes. That's kind of weird, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would think there would have to be a no one's looking, sleeping kind of situation.
Do you like how he got big, but those little tighty whities still fit him? He had the 30-year-old man sized child's briefs,
underoos.
The underoos, or the dungarees, as his mom said, whatever she was saying as she was folding it. I mean, how would you explain this to your mom? He wakes up, he freaks out himself. They had this chance encounter where they almost see each other a few times. He doesn't know what the heck to do. What would you do if you woke up as a 30-year-old man? How much would this traumatize you?
It's obvious you got to tie her up, right?
Right.
It's like the only
you kidnap
way.
Her.
It's the only way to get her to listen, without freaking out and running around. You got to tie her up. Sorry, Mom. It's for your own good. You'll understand eventually, and then I'll untie you.
But he's 12, and he's like an innocent child. He doesn't know about crime at this point. He doesn't know.
he doesn't know how to tie that kind of knot yet. He didn't get that far in Scouts.
He's innocent. I mean, what would you do? Like, you wake up, you look at your hands, your feet, you have hair in places you didn't even know existed.
Oh man, I probably would have done very similar. I mean, it's pretty realistic. Because like, what do? You go, you try to explain yourself to your mom. Doesn't work. Explain yourself to your friend. He screams, help, somebody's trying to get me. I probably would have stayed at my house, yelled at my mom to listen until I got arrested. Get arrested. Where's the kid? Oh, well, why don't you DNA test me? Test me. Boom.
What if Zoltar alters his DNA?
Man,
do we know? That's a gamble.
I mean, the devil might get you that way.
That's
I'll tell you what.
That's a gamble. You said you wanted to be big, not you wanted to retain your DNA and all your. No, I mean, do you think their reactions were valid? Like, put yourself in the mom's shoes and Billy's shoes. You see this guy show up. It just so happens to be he's got his dad's clothes on, which I think is the only reason why his dad was in this movie for half a scene, so that they gave him an excuse to have adult-sized clothes.
True.
Was their reaction warranted?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a kid would be more likely to believe this than the mom. That's for sure. But yeah, the mom, like, totally. What do you think? That someone's breaking your house? What would you do if a grown-ass man just broke into your house in sweats, right?
And he had her husband's clothes on, which was, it's weird. He had like sweatpants and the Giants sweatshirt. It's just, I don't know. And she was in the middle of vacuuming or whatever, just taking care of the house.
I think that he could have talked her into it had he tried to stay a little longer. I mean,
he
she got
freaked.
the knife out. I mean,
That's true. I mean, you're getting your mom coming at you with a knife.
Uh-huh.
It gets a little serious. It goes from 0 to 10 pretty quickly. But
what if he put his hands behind his head, and like sat down on the ground and said, "Listen, I'm of no threat. Let's just talk. Let's just talk about it."
And then she winds up murdering him. And then the end of the movie, it's like, oh my gosh, this turned into a tragic story.
I don't know New York's laws, but like I don't know, no forced entry. She's just gonna murder a guy. I don't know.
A wonderful new comedy. You're only young once.
I'll tell you what turned into a tragedy, man. Murder this guy. Like, who is this guy? He has no ID on him. Let's do his dental records. Let's check his DNA. Oh man, it's Josh Baskins. What? 12-year-old boy? What?
So if he dies, does he turn back into the boy? Like, is it magic? Like when she murders him, she stabs him. Does he like magically appear back into the child size, or is he a dead man at 30?
Interesting.
And did his life flash before his eyes? So is it like, did he come back from the future essentially as a 30 man? Does he have cavities and new dental records? Like, how does this is like? I need to know. Like, I like to imagine he turns into like the boy in like a magical scene as she and then it's like a horror movie, and then she killed her son.
I like the visual of her stabbing him and he like shrinking immediately.
Yeah.
I like that.
In the grown man's clothes. I mean, what do you think of his kidnapping angle? So he immediately doesn't know what to do. If you're a 12-year-old kid and your mom doesn't believe you that you turn into a 30-year-old man, he immediately goes with this kidnapping angle, which seemed like a fly by the seat of the pants kind of situation.
It's not bad because you want to let the mom know that I'm alive, right? You don't want her out there thinking that I'm dead. So you got to give her the hope. He doesn't know that he's coming back as a kid. He's hoping he does, but he doesn't know. But we got to keep the hope alive, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to make a ransom call at your desk at work. Like imagine you did this. Like imagine your current job right now. You go talk about, oh, you'll get him back soon. You're sitting in an open cubicle office talking about how you're going to see him soon. I promise you. All of this, like, it's basically a ransom call in a way without saying I'm holding you hostage for money. Like,
yeah, but his office mate is John Lovitz. He doesn't care. He's not listening. He doesn't.
John Lovitz just wants him to slow down the data entry and watch out for the lady in the red top. Yeah. So
making me look bad.
What do you think about him just being an adult now? So you go from being a 12-year-old kid, essentially having no clue how to handle yourself. You've got this new body that you don't even know how to operate, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Operate's a good word.
And now he's a grown man. Like,
dude, let me tell you something. I wouldn't last an instant out
You'd be
there
dead
in the
an
real
instant?
world at 12. I'd be dead.
On the streets of New York?
I'd be finished. I wouldn't know I don't know how to buy things at 12.
Can't
How am I
pay
going to
rent.
buy shelter? Are you kidding me?
That's how you wind up at the St. James Motel, man.
I don't think I was ordering my McDonald's by myself at 12, Drew. I
You gonna
whispered
go
to my
baking?
mom, Mom, I have a cheeseburger. Fries. Like I whisper to her and she orders it for me. What am I going to do?
Could you woo a 34-year-old woman
Absolutely
at 12?
not. I don't know what woo means.
Could you would you long for her, as you mentioned earlier?
I don't have the loins to long for her
Dude,
at 12.
I mean, he had him physically, but not mentally, I guess, at that point. But I mean,
I just don't know if the plumbing works. I don't know.
What about a job interview? Could you go on a job interview for Macmillan Toys?
Him filling out that job application is the most ridiculous thing. Like, there's no way I'd be able to like figure that out. That's like homework beyond recognition to a 12-year-old.
What else is he responsible for at this point? Like, how did they even know how to take the bus into the city to go to this crusted out,
I'll tell you,
mortared out hotel?
His friend's like super street smart because like I wouldn't be able to figure that out either. Like that whole how he got to New York and actually got some shelters. Yeah, rented a hotel. Like I wouldn't have known that I was allowed to rent a hotel.
What'd you think of that place?
I mean, I wouldn't live there.
Definitely roaches, right? I mean, definitely roaches.
As crazy as it sounds, I feel like I'd rather sleep in the streets, Drew.
I think I'd rather do the same.
Sleep in that motel.
He had a sheet rental fee too, right? Like,
yeah.
Sure, they were clean. Very seedy place.
Sure, they were clean.
We'll talk about Tom Hanks' acting ability, but the first night in that place, you mentioned it before we started recording here, but it was a classic. He should have given the Oscar for that alone.
Yeah, I mean, him curled up in a ball crying when he hears the arguing. It's just arguing. He's sitting there crying. There's a gunshot outside. Is there a gunshot outside in New York every night? I feel
Probably.
like a little stereotypical. And they always show the guy talking to himself when they show like someone coming to New York City. There's always a guy mumbling to himself. I feel like that's a little stereotypical too, but that's neither here nor there.
I've been to New York, and I may or may not have seen people talking to themselves, but
I see that everywhere.
What is this? This is 88, right? It's not 89. So it's 88. And this is back, we talk about Last Action Hero. Like that was early 90s, and that was pretty seedy when they're in New York and they're in like basically the porno district with like I don't know what else to call it, but the adult peep show theater area. Like,
you mean the old man's theater? That was basically a porno theater.
What was his name? Nick? Nick, go back and listen to our episode.
That was Nick's theater.
Nick's theater.
I mean, he showed Jack Slater to the kid, but like really it was a porno theater for the rest of the paying public.
How else was that guy in business?
Yeah,
he's got to show something.
On.
He's got to show something. No one else comes in. He's got the outfit on only for Jack Slater 4 or whatever it was. But this guy, I don't know. We can talk about the apartment. I don't know where to put this in. We're going to jump around quite a bit on this one, but his apartment's pretty sweet. Do you want to talk about that now, or you want to talk about it later?
Let's do it now.
What do you think about this place? It's pretty awesome.
It's iconic. I mean, it's every kid's dream is like, wow, look at this place. Like, imagine if I was a kid living on my own, this is exactly what it would be. And I'm sure like maybe they even outsource some opinions from some kids, because it's really all it is like a gym mixed with an arcade is really what it is.
You mean they got a VP of product development that was a 12-year-old living in a 30-year-old man's body to consult on this? Exactly.
Like imagine the set designer designing this thing out. Must have been awesome.
They weren't going after Peter McAllister's focus groups, the ones that where they've increased their revenue year over year.
So I found the floor plan of this place, by the way, and it just sold a couple of years ago for a cool $9+ million.
We have to put this in the show note. We'll put it in the episode notes for sure.
And I found out at least 10 years ago, it was going for $9,000 a month for rent.
You think that's worth it?
So what do you think, inflation? What do you think? So if that was call it 2010, right?
Yeah.
It was $9,000 a month in 2010. How much do you think it was back in Josh Baskin days, back in 87?
Man, I mean, 87 housing market was, I don't know what interest rates were back then. I know.
But like, could we cut it in half and generously?
Probably, but even
call
still.
It $4. Let's say it was $4,000. Is he making that money as the VP of toy development over at McAllister's?
After a week, he's making bank, but he doesn't know. Like, I don't know how much.
Do you really think he's making $50,000 a year in 1987 for toys
as a vice president at this swanky Macmillan Toys?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, he makes a joke. What is it, like 50 VPs? He's like, oh, you're a vice president. He's like, yeah, they got 50 of them or whatever he said. But I mean, it might have been a good job. He had his office was bigger than Bob's old office.
It was a great office. It was a great office.
I wish I had that office.
It was Bob's old office.
It was. I mean, I found Peter McAllister here. They were trying for return of Peter McAllister to the podcast here, but
we'll talk about.
I'd be mad too. We'll get to him in a second, but no, the layout of that apartment is amazing.
Let me get to this layout real quick. So we only see the foyer. Do you call it a foyer?
I say foyer, but I'm
a foyer.
I'm an ignorant American here.
So there's a foyer, right, which leads you into the great room, which is what we see. We see the great room where it kind of has that right angle of all windows and like that right angle to where his trampoline is, right?
Yeah.
But to the right side of that great room is a whole other section where there are 4 bedrooms, a walk-in closet that's as big as the smallest bedroom. It's got elevator entry, laundry room, which in New York City, come on, people will tell you, there's no laundry rooms in these apartments.
You got a laundry room in there? That's worth
a luxury.
$4,000 or $10,000 a month.
That is a luxury. Massive master bath. Unbelievable amenities. Closets out the wazoo. Dining area, Drew. This place is just ridiculous.
Why did they not show the rest of this place on the movie? Do you think they didn't feel like dressing it up? Or they wanted to show the fact that like he's got this amazing place and he doesn't know what to do with it. He's got his bunk beds out in the middle of the floor.
I think that they probably wanted it to be, they didn't want it to be as huge, to be more unrealistic as it already is, I bet. They probably want to say, okay, this is how big the place is and no more, because it would be absurd for it to be any further, right?
Yeah. They'd have to triple their budget. I mean, they rented the place out obviously to get it, but
Yeah.
what do you think of having to take an elevator to your house? Like a private elevator, essentially.
It's weird
because-
to like if the elevator opens up like into your place, but
and he's
I don't
got the
know.
like the cage elevator too
Yeah.
with the door.
For those that wanna look it up, I believe I have the address here.
We'll definitely put it in the notes of the show. If you're listening to the show, check out the show notes or go to the lastrowpodcast.com. We'll definitely put it on the blog post for the page too. But it is, when he says swanky apartment, that was not joking. It is amazing. It's a sweet looking place.
85 Grand Street, Unit 2, Soho, Manhattan, New York.
What'd you think of the way he decorated it?
Classic 12-year-old, 13-year-old decorations. I mean,
Are you a pinball guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I would go Terminator 2 pinball, but
Yeah.
obviously not in 88 because, I mean, I was 10 in 94, so Terminator 2 pinball existed. I would have put the Terminator pinball in there.
What about Shaq pinball? Did you play that one?
No, that was great too. Absolutely. Adam's Family pinball.
Adam's Family pinball is the one, man.
Yep.
And Star Wars pinball is a really
Yep.
good one too. That's
Love
a
it.
that's a good one.
So you got that. I mean, I would go definitely basketball hoop. He's got it.
Yeah.
He knew it. I never would have thought of trampoline. So I got props to him.
There's a good use of the
Trampoline.
space too on the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
Is there part of you that would be afraid you'd fall out the window somehow?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, what if you had momentum and you just crashed your ass out the
Yeah.
window?
I
You
kept
know?
thinking that, like,
Yeah.
they dropping water balloons. How about his head smashes like a balloon from jumping in the wrong angle?
Yeah,
but
right.
he knew
I
what
mean,
he was
hell,
doing. I guess we
Yeah.
get to trust him.
I mean, kids are resilient. He'll bounce
What do you
back.
think of the soda machine in there?
Yeah.
He rigged it up without the quarters, so you don't
Perfect.
need it.
Perfect. I mean, this kid has thinking of things that I never would have thought of. As a
Did he
12-year-old.
buy that stuff or did he rent it?
The truck did say something rentals on it.
Yeah,
At least the one where he got the pinball machine from. So maybe there is a sense of realism because I don't know if you know this, but like I remember looking up prices of like arcade machines back in the 90s and they were like thousands upon thousands of dollars. I feel like, a rental might have been, maybe he rented that trampoline and he rented that pinball machine and all that kind of thing.
they make them now. Like what is it? One Up Arcade where you can get like Mortal Kombat and stuff for like a couple
like
$400.
$400. Yeah, a couple hundred.
I want
Yeah.
that. I just don't have the space for it.
Yeah.
But and if he rented it versus bought it, does he even know the difference at this point? Like I don't
No.
know that he even knows what his expenses are. He's just like getting stuff.
Well, if you're him, why not rent it? Because your time is temporary anyway.
True.
Right?
True. I think they had
that-
6
yeah.
weeks until they could
Yeah.
find the Zoltar machine because
Yeah.
they had to go through the New York City's clerk's office.
If it existed. If
It-
it existed.
Yeah, if it existed. I mean, the only way he's going to be able to afford this, I forgot what you said. What's the rent now? It's like 10 grand a month. Back then, it's probably like at least 5 grand a month.
Generously $4,000 maybe. Call it.
Whatever the heck it was. We mentioned Macmillan Toys. You got Robert Loggia. How do you say it? I always mix that up.
Loggia.
Loggia. Robert Loggia, very
Loggia.
famous actor. Mr. Macmillan himself. Josh gets this job at Macmillan Toys as a data entry specialist. I have one question about this interview process because we don't have that much time to talk about it. But if the interviewer didn't get interrupted by Susan complaining about one of the other workers, would Josh have got this job or not?
I don't think so,
He went to
because he was
GW.
kind of struggling with the GW, the pledging. I feel like he was like a question or two away from getting trapped of like, who are you?
Like how long can this go on before
Yeah.
he really screws up?
But I feel like the guy, like he was like so distracted by Susan. He was like, I got to deal with this. I don't know. Whatever, you're hired. When can you start?
It's
We need
over.
you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this type of job, it's got a lot of turnover. It's really kind of a crappy job. All he's doing is just pounding keys. That's
Yeah.
all he's doing.
Typing stuff.
A monkey could do the job. John Lovitz could do the job.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just wanted to fill a seat.
Is there any other place that he could have worked that would have worked out better or worse than this? Like imagine he went to a bank instead of a toy
Oh.
company.
Yeah, it's the perfect situation for him to move up accidentally in the company for sure.
He'd got like sussed out immediately. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like what the hell, man? Like he's in a bank. Like
he would
they're
have
all
been
serious.
he would have been begging for that Zoltar machine, right?
He got promoted because he busted into Macmillan and he had Susan and Peter McAllister following him around.
showing some hustle.
He had some hustle. What do
Yeah.
you think of Macmillan? Do you think he's a good boss?
Now I was wondering, is McMillan a good boss with an eye for talent that knows what he wants, or is he like Jerry Jones, to where it's like he has no idea what's going on? He's the owner of this company, but he's over the hill. He's getting a little crazy.
He's just
old
there.
age. Maybe he needs to be pushed out. Which
Is he
one of the
looking
two
for
is
his
he?
replacement? Is
Which
that
one-
why he's got Josh?
No. I think that he's going to be empowered until he dies.
It's not
It's
like
just the
Willy
fact that he
Wonka.
might be becoming a little, senile or maybe a little too like over the hill, overmatched in his advanced age, to that he's making bad decisions that could negatively affect the future of the company.
Did
in Peter
this
McAllister's
guy-
eyes.
I mean, listen, if he's got, we're gonna keep calling Peter McAllister the whole
Yeah.
time because
It's who it is.
it's Kevin McAllister's dad is the character here. That's
Nobody
all
knows
I can
his
see.
real name. Nobody knows.
But he let this guy make these presentations, which we'll get to in a second, that made zero sense. So I guess if McMillan is up there, I didn't Peter McAllister say at one point, like, McMillan, he's losing it, man. He's losing
That's what
it.
I'm saying. Like in Peter's eyes, McMillan's losing it because he's giving this guy promotion after 2 days, a data entry guy, 2 days off the job. Like,
They're all jockeying
But-
for the job, I guess.
but if you look at it, like from his point of view, from McMillan's point of view, he runs into this man child at the toy store on
Yeah.
a Saturday, right? Kid's rolling around on the floor with another 12-year-old. He's got like perfect elevator pitch reviews of toys that McMillan's just pointing out in the toy store. This is exactly the type of guy we need to test our toys. A guy that thinks like a kid. This he sees that the kid's like, this guy's like, something's wrong with him, right? He's not exactly mature. He can see right through it. For all we know, Loggia knows that this man is 12 years old, or at least emotionally stunted. Right?
He's like, hey, this guy must have found a machine at a carnival.
I've seen it.
It
was me. I'm Robert Loggia. And I wished on a Zoltar 30 years ago. Damn it, this kid's got it.
That was his wish.
Yeah. He was the only other person to ever win at Zoltar. We figured it out.
It wasn't Josh's wish of being big.
Yeah.
It was
Damn it, Josh, you remind me of me.
Oh my God.
You're promoted.
First off, can I tell you do a spot on permission of impression of Loggia?
I hope I'm not piercing the ears of everyone.
Oh
I
my God.
apologize.
It's spot on, but I like the idea that Loggia was the one that wished for his company to be saved, and he brought on. He's the only other one to win it at Zoltar.
When this idiot showed up, he's like, "Oh my God, there's my wish." But no, I'm saying Loggia wished to be big back when he was 12.
He's been through it.
So he knows man-child when he sees one. And now that he's 60, but he's really 42, he knows an 18-year-old difference in mentality when he sees one. And this son of a bitch is 12 years old. I know it. I can see it.
I've been there.
Damn it, I've been there, Josh. I know what you're going through.
What if he grew up and he just never decided to go back to be a kid? So he was a 12-year-old that became
and he got a data entry job at the toy store because that's what a 12-year-old does.
And he's just too old now. He's jaded.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the 12-year-old wonder anymore.
And he doesn't know how to run the company at his advanced age because he got the job too early. And it just the dominoes are finally falling on him.
Think about it. He goes to the toy store
Yeah.
every Saturday, doesn't he? He's a 12-year-old.
Exactly.
He's living that dream.
Exactly. And think about this, Drew. Like, you know how the pressure as the movie gets on starts to mount on Josh?
Yeah.
Like, as he gets higher up in his job, like, now he's got to do a promotion. Now he's got to think of an idea. Like, I don't know how to, like, he's freaking out to Susan. Like, I don't know how to do this. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't, because it's like, yeah, because you didn't go to school for this. It's like, yeah, you don't know how to do this. It's true. It's like,
Does he know how to write anything? Like I mean, I know
Yeah,
he's
no.
12-year-old you can write, I guess, but like
no,
yeah.
like he's struggling to do a book report on Tom Sawyer probably. So like imagine like as he gets higher in his job, he's going to be asked to do things he has zero idea on how to do. And it goes to show you how you can BS your way through life if you just like work, if you're good at BSing.
Yeah.
Right.
You get some lucky breaks. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to get to this. I'm going to ask you now, but like, does the 6 week, I'm assuming this is like 6 weeks, right? It's something like that. So around that time, does the experience that he have make him better at being a kid? Like, because now he knows how to do business. Like he's like, he can do business. So he goes back and he's a 12-year-old. We'll save it because we need to get to that.
I have thoughts on that exact thing.
We'll get to it. Let's
Okay.
talk about his job. So you said he's a VP of product development. What does that mean?
That means I play with all this stuff, and they tell me I get to tell them what I think.
They're going to pay you for that?
Suckers! No,
I mean,
yeah.
Billy.
Really, his office is a bunch of toys, and he just plays with it, and he tells Robert Loggia what's good and what's not good. That's really his job.
Are those Macmillan toys, or are they competitor toys? Are they all toys?
I bet they're all toys. A little bit of everything.
What is he like?
I bet they're competitors' toys, because really, when we get into that board meeting with the skyscraper robot, so that's a Macmillan toy, and that's where he can like lend his expertise, right? Yeah. And like he tells Macmillan and company what's good about these competitors' toys. They take that knowledge, and that's when they develop their master toy.
This is
like their new Christmas toy.
It's like insider trading, man. It's not fair. They got a 12-year-old.
Like, a 12-year-old on the payroll, man.
Isn't this just what a focus group is? I mean, really, he's just an in-house focus group person. That's it.
But like to have a childlike mentality in a 30-year-old is like a gold mine to them, I'm assuming. But to Macmillan.
They don't know that. I mean, I guess, yeah, you can't legally hire a 12-year-old.
Right.
It's child labor laws.
And like, you assume that this guy has a level of maturity to like do the job, plus have the mentality to know what kids want.
Yeah.
He has an eye for it. And he's a blue chipper, really.
That's true.
In their eyes. But really, he's just a kid.
Well, how much is he getting paid? You mentioned, you alluded to it later. Is this like he got paid $187 or something for his first paycheck?
So $187 for his first paycheck, which you can't compare the two because it's data entry,
right?
High school equivalence, job, whatever. Which $187, I'm sure it was like, maybe around minimum wage, maybe a little bit more back in the day. We don't know how many hours he worked, but you talk about VP of what now? Product development.
Yeah,
for a major toy line. He's probably making like 50, right? 50 a year?
At least. I mean, as vice president.
I think 50 is a lot in 87.
At that, he might be making six figures, man, easily.
You think?
To afford that apartment, he's a vice president. This is like, I mean, it's supposed to be like a FAO Schwartz, I guess. I don't know what they were saying. It was the inspiration, or maybe it's like, I don't know, Playmates, Galoob. I'm thinking about all these random like toy companies back from the 80s and stuff.
Playmates had the turtles, right? Yeah,
they did, yeah. And it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I mean, could you do this job? And couldn't they just? I'm not saying that they need a 30-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 30-year-old man. And the question is, if Macmillan found out that this, let's say he found out that this was actually happening, would he have tried to block Josh from becoming a kid again? Because he needs this kid.
There's a lot of movies within this movie that could have been made, right?
I want to see that.
I want to see like where's the movie where the focus is on finding Josh, right? Yeah. And the dad is Sean Penn, maybe.
Yeah, the FBI is like after.
Yeah, and it's like it's like that whole thing.
It's like
there's
prisoners.
That. Yeah. Right? And then like where's the movie where they find out early that he's 30, but like that he's 12, but like they try to stop him from being a kid, and then like there's a whole thing where he wants to, and all of a sudden he's like being forced under his, like he really is being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Really? To do work. And
then
Loggia by Loggia. And then like they reduce his pay or even not pay him at all because really he's not really a citizen at this point because he doesn't have a real social security number. Nobody knows this kid.
Wasn't somebody else getting paid on his behalf? Like, imagine someone's taxes is going to be completely screwed because they're making like six figures.
They're getting audited the shit out of next fiscal year.
You
better believe it.
12.
You better believe it. Yeah.
Where's your income, buddy?
But you got a scenario where like Robert Loggia's like turning milk cartons sideways so nobody sees the missing boy thing. It's like there's like this whole thing where they're like holding him against his will, making him test these toys, right?
Is the milk carton like the equivalent of like a car alarm? Like you hear a car alarm and you're just like, whatever.
I'm sorry, those kids are dead already, Drew.
They don't look for that.
If you're on the milk cartons, like nobody's looking.
So do you think he was good at his job? So, because what did they show him doing? They showed him jumping around on some stuff. They showed him in the office playing with that I don't know what it was. It's like a flying thing. And then the comic book, right? What else did he do?
I mean, he got that stupid skyscraper thing nixed, which was like probably saved the company a lot of money because that thing was not going to sell. Let's be honest.
We need to talk about that. Let's talk about that because there's a whole angle here with Paul, aka Peter McAllister, and Susan. I want to come back to them and their dating situation, but just Josh blowing up, torpedoing Peter McAllister's presentation in the middle of the meeting. Now, you work in an office setting. You've got meetings and you've got people doing presentations. Let's say you were given this presentation and some guy raises his hand to you and just says, I don't get it. Like, is that acceptable behavior, the way that he handled himself?
If I'm Peter McAllister, who the are you? You bleep that out.
Yeah, well, hey, it's a PG podcast. We get one. We get one. But they got one. We get one.
Who the F are you? I don't get it in front of my boss and all these people. Where did you come from? It's exactly how he reacted.
He's vicious.
Is probably how a normal person would have reacted in the business world. Like, what?
He's vicious. Yeah. What did he say to him?
Yeah. This guy's a killer.
He's out to get him.
He's coming for my throat.
I mean, think about it. He doesn't know he's a 12-year-old that just doesn't get it.
No.
He probably thinks this guy's playing like dumb so that he can.
Is there nothing worse than some guy just gunning for your job, but at the whole time playing all shucks nice guy?
I mean,
oh, gee, I'm just happy to be here.
To be fair, his presentation made no sense. Like,
no, it was
at
terrible.
All.
It was a bad toy. It was a bad toy.
It was a crappy toy.
Now, I've never seen something to that degree in real life, but like I feel like there's an ethical way that now it's not fair because the 12-year-old doesn't know what he's doing, right? He's just being kid. They say this all the time. Kids are brutally honest, right?
Yes,
brutally honest. So he's just being brutally honest. I feel like there's a way to disagree with that pitch without I don't get it, you know. And
like, does it have to be a building?
Understandably, you know, if you're the presenter, you're like, come on, man. Like, there's a better way to do this, right? But to your other point, he was spitting numbers that made zero sense.
They had nothing to do with it.
It was obvious. Oh, market research shows that in the action figure, we're up 27%. Like, okay, just because you're good at action figures doesn't mean that this action figure is going to sell.
Yeah, like your reputation means that this is going to sell. But it's not even a reputation. It was a sales metric.
It's like, you know, there's a joke like at bands, like, oh, you know, if, you know, what's a popular band? Like
I don't know, Metallica. Call it Metallica.
Yeah, Metallica. Well, no, Metallica did shit on an album. And
okay, yeah, they did.
Nobody bought it.
That's true.
Like in the 2000, if NSYNC put out an album and it was just them farting on it for 90 minutes, it would have sold, you know, what? 5 million copies?
Yeah, Radiohead. But there you go, Radiohead.
Radiohead, perfect example.
That's the perfect example.
Radiohead literally farts in a microphone for 90 minutes, and it goes triple platinum.
But it's genius.
So like, is this guy comparing himself? Is he the Radiohead of toy making? That he's just gonna fart out a building robot, and it gonna increase his stranglehold on the market?
You're right. It doesn't make any sense. But it wasn't even like the reputation. It's just the sales figures have nothing to do with their reputation. The sales figures are a result of sales. So this guy going out there saying this. Now listen, I'm going to be Josh for a second. I'm going to be 30-year-old business experience Josh, and this is how you handle that meeting. Mm-hmm. You go in there and you say, "Dude, Peter McAllister or whatever, right? Paul, I love this idea. I think it's great. I'm not sure a building is what we should go with, but I love your idea of a robot, and I think it's great. Yeah. How do we work together?
What if it was a bug or something?
Yeah, what if it was a bug?
And I was like, ooh, bug.
Yeah.
And then he gets out of the building. Bug? You don't just go in a meeting and just say bug.
Bug. You just say bug. I mean, but he should have said like, dude, you got a great idea here. Let's work together.
You have
but he doesn't know.
That's exactly right. It sucks that you have to like do the dance, right? But you have to like compliment the guy first before you set him down gently and say, you know, good start. But what if we went in this direction?
Did you get an American Psycho vibe from the people in that room, where it's almost like the Bateman guys with the business cards?
Yeah,
like they're all just agreeing with him.
They don't do anything.
Maybe they hated it too.
Yeah,
McMillan's sitting there.
They're not going to say
anything.
They're not going to say anything. I feel like they might say something to the side after the meeting. Put a no pun intended. Put a bug in McMillan's ear. Yeah, and say, hey, you know, I don't know about this skyscraper deal.
I mean, that thing fell apart when he picked it up. It just looks like a piece of crap. Would you play with that?
No. Speaking of pieces of crap, I apologize for all the Radiohead fans out there. I actually kind of like Radiohead a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I have no indifferent. I'm indifferent to them, but
it was just a reference.
Well, you know, we're gonna get flamed on that one. So
yeah, I mean, Radiohead for life with some people. No, but yeah, I feel like it's not his fault because he shouldn't be there. But B, yeah, who the hell are you if you're Peter McAllister? Rightfully angry.
What are the other? So let's talk about this. So without going too into detail, Paul, also known as Peter McAllister, is dating Susan, who winds up dating Josh, right? After she's dated multiple guys.
Office Pentagon?
That Peter McAllister calls her out on at some point. So before we get to maybe the Peter McAllister side, because I'm going to ask you if you're on his side or not, what do you think of the Paul and Susan dynamic, or the Peter Paul?
Peter Paul, Susan
here. What do you think of this? Are they actually dating? Because it's heavily implied that they are, and it's not just a casual fling.
They show her and him eating breakfast together in robes.
Yep.
At one point, they're always together outside of the office. Like they show them in cars. They're together at the party at the beginning. They're together. They're walking in the streets together. Like they're always together, and it seems more than just business. Obviously, if they're wearing robes, eating breakfast at somebody's house, they're just having a sleepover, right? They weren't jumping on trampolines.
She's on the bottom bunk.
Let me tell you that much. So yeah, it's safe to say they're dating.
I mean, she had stuff at his place. He had stuff at her place. She said, "Here's your toothbrush. Here's your shampoo, and all that other stuff." So it was pretty serious. So when she just decides to leave the party and go sleep over at this dude's house, if you're Peter McAllister, besides the fact that he's not Peter McAllister, but he's actually, if you're this guy, Paul, what the hell's going through your mind? So he wasn't mad enough.
Yeah, you got this guy coming in, data entry guy. 3 days later, he's VP of production development. He's in the ear of McAllister's right-hand man. Met him, quote unquote, by chance at the toy store where the guy Loggia happens to go every Saturday.
Yeah.
To where he probably assumes that this punk Josh Baskin met him there, like quote unquote, accidentally, he stalked him. And then he got him horning in on his girlfriend. This guy's a real,
he's vicious.
This guy's a killer.
He's going for my throat.
This guy's public enemy number one. Like I would, for sure, I'd hate this guy's guts. I'm totally on McAllister's side.
Is it safe to say, like, office nemesis?
Yeah, and now McAllister sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to root for McAllister. But if you're telling me to, like, from his point of view, this guy's coming after you hard. And both professionally and personally.
Yeah. Because how does he know that there's some Zoltar machine that turned a 12-year-old into a 30-year-old? I mean, Loggia didn't tell him the story, that's for sure. So what do you think of his way to muscle him out? So he's got to macho him out. He's going to show him who's boss. He gets the, is it it's outdoor racquetball, right? I don't even know if that's paddleball. I guess paddleball, right?
Paddleball, I don't know.
So he gets the paddleball and he says, "Hey, let's go outside. I'm going to show you something." What do you think of his alpha move here?
Yeah, and I like that Baskin is like, "Oh, I know how to play basketball." It's like, no, we're doing this. We're doing this thing that I'm only good at.
Yeah, because paddleball or whatever he was deciding to play is definitely a game that if you never played that, you're probably not going to be good. Whereas basketball, I'm not saying basketball is easy, but you probably have played basketball before.
Yeah,
in
like
life.
it's familiar. It's like, imagine if you've never played like table tennis, and I've played it a bunch, and like, hey Drew, like, hey, let's play some table tennis. It'll be fun. And then you lose 21-0,
and you're forced stumping me.
It's like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, this is great.
Exactly. And he spits out the rules for him and all this stuff.
He doesn't even give him practice shot. He's like, "Oh, this is what we do," but I'm up 1-0.
Yep. So was that? I mean, that shows what kind of guy that Paul, aka Peter McAllister, is here. What do you think of Josh? So he cheats in the game, and Josh is. I love the fight that they have, and the fact that the crowd rolls around. Like, are you on Josh's side there? Or are you on McAllister's side?
Oh yeah, because McAllister's a piece of crap. Like, obviously, I don't want to be on his side. I'm just saying from his point of view, like he's wrong for sure on many levels, but. Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to do all he can to, like, what do you call it? Is he peacocking? Is he amogging? He's amogging. He's amogging. That's what he's
amogging on him.
Alpha male of group. That's what he's doing.
There you go. Yeah, he was amogging him. Yeah. And I don't know what Peter McAllister's standing is at this company. He's probably some other vice president of something. But him and Susan are no longer together after this. She's got her eyes set on Josh. Now, without getting too controversial here, what's up with this? she was intrigued because he's more of a boyish charm, I guess, compared
Well,
to maybe
hang on now.
stodgy Peter.
You just said don't be controversial,
All right,
and you used the word boyish.
boyish charm.
I mean, should we?
We can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Let's
Don't
just
cancel us, please.
Let's get it out of the way right now before we get into the actual dynamic of the relationship. This boy is 13 years old. He's between 12 and 13. He had his 13th birthday at the Italian shop.
He's a teenager now, so it's cool.
Now he's a teenager. Did she take advantage of this poor child? Is there a criminal aspect to this?
But she didn't know.
Or are we going to... Yeah, well, I didn't know that girl was 16, Drew.
But
how does that sound? Does that sound good?
No, I know that she didn't know, but she didn't know that this 30-year-old body...
Well, hell, she looked 25 to me.
There you go.
Does that sound good? Does that hold up in court,
We can't
Drew?
excuse it. We can't excuse it.
Does that hold up in court?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You sure about that?
Sure about that? You sure about 30? Sure about that?
We can't excuse it because it's not okay. And I'm going to go on the record.
She should ask for ID.
But he doesn't have an ID, I guess. But if he had an ID that said 30, a fake ID, you'd believe him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got chest hair, for God's sake.
He could really walk up to a gas station and buy cigarettes and not get carded. Like, really.
I mean, he could join the military. He could be buying cigarettes. He could buy whatever. Like, he's not going to. But look, I don't think there was any intention there, put it that way. And that's all I'm going to say on that because
all I'm saying is it's weird.
She couldn't know.
All I'm saying is that, like, they played it for laughs and the damn
you
sure
can't
ain't
make
funny,
this
Drew.
movie these days.
Damn sure ain't funny.
You can't make this movie now, can you?
It just we had to say it. We wouldn't be doing our jobs without bringing it up.
Yeah. It's a Short Circuit 2 thing all over again. We got to get it on the record.
Yep. All right.
Could it work?
So I'm struggling with the intentions of this season, right? And I don't mean to be crass, and I don't mean to be like belittling of women in the workplace in the late 80s, right?
Right.
But Peter McAllister had noted that they had a relationship. Pete has a high-paying, high-structured job. So does she, right? They both do. But also that she was with another man before Peter Paul, right?
Yeah.
Another high-paying job in the same company. So this is now the third person in the company that this girl is attaching herself to. This time it's the hot new, VP of product development. And she decided very quickly at this, formal party that, you know what, I'm going to take this guy home with me.
It was a little predatory. Yeah,
and he had done nothing to, like, attract her other than being good at his job quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like, they never really had a conversation. They never had a whole, like, flirtatious get to know you kind of thing, right?
Right.
She just decided then and there. To the left of her was Peter, who was drunk and talking boring, talking chop.
Business talk.
And then she sees this guy peacocking in his white tux after just handing Peter his ass in a meeting, right? And she's like, you know what? I'm going to take this guy home with me. He's hot, and Peter over here is not.
I think the movie...
Is she being opportunistic?
I think the movie did a disservice. Well, the movie set up what they wanted to set up. They wanted you to think that. And they did. Because they wouldn't have said it if they didn't want you to think it. Had they not talked about the other guys, then you could say, hey, she's attracted to this guy because he's exciting, and Peter McAllister's a boring dude here.
True.
And Peter McAllister's here, he's whining about this business deal. He's old and boring and whatever, and this guy is really different. He's new. And maybe she was bored with her life and what was going on, and she was interested in, hey, this guy's pretty interesting. What the hell is this tux about? What's this guy all about? But I think the movie did a disservice, and they set it up such that you would think it was more predatory behavior.
It was one line. It really was. It was one line where this makes Josh the third man that she has aligned herself with in the company.
It didn't need to be in there.
Right.
But it was intentional, I think. And maybe that's to give you a little bit of sympathy for the Paul character, because it's hard to have any for him.
He's a jerk, so it's like he's the enemy. So
maybe they wanted to set it up such that you would think, okay, yeah, she was going after him from a status thing, but she actually did fall for him, and it made the attraction or the actual chemistry that they wound up having a bit more natural.
Or to show the audience that she has a poor choice of men.
Yes.
And she chose wrong with her first mistake, chose wrong again with Peter McAllister, and now she chose a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So this woman, she's like, she doesn't know what she wants. Her love life is kind of in flux.
And I read a piece of trivia too that said they intentionally changed her look the longer that she dated Josh. They made her more like young looking, and her hair went from being up in these tight ponytails to down and flowing, and she wore different clothes, and that was intentional.
I did notice that.
They did that on purpose to show that she was becoming more comfortable with herself and less of this sort of like traditional business person who is in an office setting, where she was just a bit more like Josh. And Josh's like comfort level was just being himself, I guess, as a 12-year-old.
Little more biz cash.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? Could it work? Like, take aside why she liked him or not.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's 12 years old. I mean, he doesn't know about anything. He doesn't know about, things.
Let's pretend the Zoltar machine is gone.
Yeah.
And he'll never get back to being a kid again. And this is his life, right? This relationship, what, a month?
What do they talk about?
Yeah.
What do they talk about?
He cannot emotionally satisfy her, let alone physically.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he could physically, we don't know. But emotionally, he doesn't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about baseball cards and stuff. And like, that's going to get old really quick for her. Yeah,
that's all he knows. He's going to have to grow up really quick, which,
I
mean, he was like kind of doing it at that dinner party.
Yeah.
Which was like, it was almost like it reminded me of like Will Ferrell in Old School, where like you would black out afterwards talking about Christopher Columbus, but like he probably just had that class like 2 weeks ago.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait to go help the kid with his algebra homework.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so he would have to get lucky to have adult conversations based on things he learned in history class in 6th grade.
I mean, forget 12 versus 30 or whatever Susan is. They never said how old she was. You got to assume it's around the same age, maybe slightly older.
Yeah. Well, if it makes any difference, her real age, she was 27 at filming.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, she looked like she was in her 40s or something to me. Like maybe it's just the look of that. I think it's
the business casual, the business attire and the hair up of it all.
But like, I mean, just put yourself in your current scenario. Let's say you're dating someone that's, 10, 15 years older than you, or you're dating someone in their 20s. Like you just don't have the same things in common, generally speaking, right? You're at a different place in your life. I'm not saying it can't work, but this is an extreme example of that. There's plenty of people that date each other and get married and have that age gap, but like this is such an extreme where he hasn't developed his personality yet. He doesn't know anything. Yeah. He can't even drive a car. Like he doesn't know. He doesn't know. And but you know what did it? I mean, he learned because he had sex. So he became a businessman. He knew business
right away. But did he?
Like,
we don't know if we didn't know if he had full on.
Well, where do you put him on the bases? Like put him on a baseball field, the baseball diamond. Where's he at?
My seat now, the way he like hopped around the office after the day after made you think
the red
that,
polo, the Ron Swanson.
Yeah, exactly right. Made you think that he it all happened, right? But part of me thinks that he like they were making out and then like she like took her shirt off and with the bra on and stuff like that, and he could barely touch the boob, right?
Yeah,
like he was like just fascinated with it almost. Part of me thinks that they started kissing more, they got to the bed and he kind of chickened out. And she's still okay with that because like, oh, this guy's really strange, but that's cool. You know what I mean? I don't know if he like could wrap his head around going all the way with it. So maybe second base.
But I mean, it's implied that they're living together at one point.
And I don't know if he knows what to do.
He probably doesn't.
Like physically. Like he probably has never even seen a tutorial, so to speak.
You could definitely be right because
I could be wrong, but I could be right too. I don't know.
I just don't think this relationship has lasting power. I can't imagine this is going to work. It's just not going to work, right?
Absolutely not.
And this whole thing ruins his relationship with his best friend Billy because he was going to go to this birthday party for him. They had the birthday dinner, and then he wound up going out on a date with Susan and making his pitch for the comic book thing and all this stuff. So it was a rift, but I don't know. I just don't think that it had any lasting power. They had nothing in common. I'm surprised that they made it that far. Put it that way.
I just wonder the logistics of him just never going back, right?
Yeah.
Not of the bedroom, Drew. I know that's where you were going, but
When you go logistics, I mean,
no, of him like say he like stays an adult, right? Can't go back. Like he's still like he's gonna have to figure out his social security number, and then they're gonna know that like that's weird. Like it says you're 12 here. Like what do you need a social security number for? Like
it was a clerical error.
yeah, no, but like what do you need it for? Like in life, like do you need it to get a driver's license?
It's
Like,
weird.
do you
because,
need it to buy a house? Like I'm trying to think of things
No.
you need.
I mean, you got to file taxes, right?
You gotta file
need
taxes.
it for things to
Yeah.
go to college. You need it for things.
So it's like, oh, you're Josh Baskin, the kid who's presumed dead from. You
Well,
know what I mean? Like
that's the piece that we didn't even touch on. Like he used his real name. He's a
Yeah.
vice president at Macmillan. It's not like some Joe Schmo's toy shop. I mean, this is a Manhattan business. It's a famous business. He's got toys and FAO Schwartz. There's this hotshot new vice president on the scene. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't he be in like Fortune magazine or something? And they're going to be like, this guy, he's using his real name. I mean, that's what a 12-year-old would do.
yeah,
He would use his
Right.
real name, so
You'd
it's
known it better.
realistic.
yeah.
But the unrealistic part is like, shouldn't the FBI be out looking for this kid or like police? There's a detective somewhere.
But even not like eventually like if he used to say his name was Gary Smith, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like eventually they're gonna find out this person doesn't have a real social security number. This is an illegal alien.
It's
You
true.
know, like they're gonna kick him out of the country even though they don't even know where he belongs.
But where do they put him?
Yeah.
Where do they put him?
Like he can't last long in New York City without someone finding out that he's a fake person.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't think
wanna
it
see
had.
that. I want
Yeah.
to see that movie.
They made it. It's called The Terminal. It's where he's stuck in the airport. I feel like Tom Hanks has a movie for every
Yeah.
aspect of this movie,
The Tom Hanks universe, the cinematic
Yeah.
universe. Yeah.
where he plays every character
Yeah.
possible.
Mhm.
No, I don't think they could last. But I mean, look at this. So it doesn't last because Billy gets in his head. They find his Zoltar machine. He's got to find a way to go back. And do you think it was right of Billy? Like, did he want to go back? Did he really want to go back? Like, they say he was overwhelmed with being an adult. It seemed like he was happy in the relationship. Billy got in his head, didn't it?
I think for a minute, like he was like, I think I can make this work. You know, it's cool. I got a girlfriend. I got this job. I can do no wrong. But like the second the job got hard and the girlfriend got a little complicated, I think like the pressure started like I don't have to do this.
Yeah,
I don't-
I don't have to.
I don't have to do this anymore. Like this is a lot.
Can we find a Zoltar machine? Because sometimes I wish I was 12. It's like I don't want to go to this meeting. Okay, cool. Let me go get go to the Zoltar machine.
I tell people all the time, man, don't click your life away, Drew.
Yeah, I know.
Don't hit rewind.
Yeah.
Just like you don't hit fast forward, don't hit rewind. Come on
But
now.
what kind of lasting trauma would this have on Josh Baskin? Would life ever be the same for him?
So, what's funny? I told you. Now, thanks for asking this question because we're circling around. You asked me a very specific question about his experience in the real world jobs. Will it benefit him going backwards, right? And I think it'll have an adverse effect because to him, work is easy. Hell, I just figured it out. And let me tell you, a lot of work is just figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you, in your job, in my job, I feel like, friends' jobs, we all kind of just figure it out. Like, we're qualified for a certain aspect of the job. And then when you get in the job, you're like, oh, it's this. And then, like, you may not be prepared for some of this, but you figure it out. You get some time, you get some leeway, and you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Along with what I expected it to be. I can also do this. It was just a curveball. And that's a lot of life. But in his case, he's going to grow up maybe a little bit on the lazy side, thinking, freaking graduate high school, get a job, make
Become the
100K,
VP.
get a nice swanky Manhattan apartment in Soho. Easy. Life's easy. Get a girlfriend, no problem. Bitch some guy out in a meeting, easy.
I don't get it. Is he
don't
going to
get
use
it.
that in school now to the
Yeah,
teacher?
yeah.
I don't get it.
It's going to give him a false sense of security that I think could lead to laziness.
I see. I could see Billy doing that, but I feel like Josh he
Yeah.
seemed like a nice kid.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Yeah, nice kid, but like he had that experience and he had success. So like, hell, if it worked then, it could work now.
Do you think it'll make him appreciate being a kid more though? Of like,
Yeah.
man, I don't have to go do that anymore. I don't have to go to that business meeting. I don't have to work on this dumb comic book thing.
Yeah. No,
Like, I don't know.
it could be relief, but it also like, the ticking clock that's like hanging over your head at all times. Like, I feel like that's kind of on the kid's mind too. Like that's a scar that'll be with him forever. To where it's like, man, this is nice now, but like I know what it's like on the other side, and it's coming. You know, it's I don't know. Like
So
I
he
feel
won't
like
savor the moments of being a kid.
no,
then, you mean?
I think it emotionally stunted him, and like he'll never be the same. You should probably sue Zoltar.
What do you think about Billy? So Billy didn't get big. What do you think if he would have been the one that got
Oh.
big? Because you said it best, right? You're lucky he had the street smarts to help them
Yeah.
through New York City. He was the reason why Josh survived this whole thing.
We would have never seen Billy again as a kid. He would have been gone. He's out of here.
You give him Susan as a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You give him that swanky apartment. Like
I'll tell you,
he's not
Josh,
going back.
Billy would have dropped Josh within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because Billy didn't need Josh to like he would have done all the things himself. Josh needed Billy to teach him how to like buy a motel and how to get a job. Billy could have done that all by himself. Now maybe he would have invited Josh to like, hey, come check this out. I got this cool. This is going on here. Hey, I'm an adult. I can buy porno mags. This is great. Look at all this, right? But like once he started making like adult friends or actually like got a girlfriend or something, him with his 30-year-old body,
Yeah.
forget it. Going to bars. He's totally going to bars, Billy. Josh isn't. Billy is. Josh is just, he's going to be an afterthought and no going back. I wouldn't even put it past Billy to just not even tell his parents. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Billy's just disappeared.
We didn't get much of his home life. We got some of Josh's home life.
Yeah.
I mean, why would Josh want to go back when the baby's sleeping in his room?
Yeah. Did we not even talk about that?
No, I don't think so. I don't
Dude.
recall.
I hate to go off topic.
I have
Let-
feelings too.
Let me finish this thought with Billy first. So what do we see Billy? He's in New York City like every day.
Yeah. What else is he doing that we don't know
like,
about?
Like his parents do not give a shit where this kid is. So do you think he's gonna come back?
No.
He's
No,
No.
hell no.
So Billy's gone if he was Zoltar. But circling back to this home life thing, it's poor Josh. His baby sister, he's 12. This kid is like 1.
Yeah.
Right?
If that.
Yeah. Now, the age gap is very large, but it's fine. Whatever. But they put the kid in his room? The baby's crib is in his bedroom? Now, I get it. Now, okay. They have a nice house, by the way. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Suburbs in New York. 40 minutes outside New York City. If you don't have the space for an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
If it's like, all right, we got 2 bedrooms. Parents' bedroom, kids' bedroom. It's only 2. You put the damn baby in the parents' bedroom.
Especially
it's your baby.
when
It's
the
your
kid's
baby,
a
not his.
teenager. The
Kid's a teenager. Or about to become. He's sprouting.
Now you can help if you're an older sibling, you're going to help. That's part of being part of the family.
Sure.
But did you notice in the Zoltar storm or before the storm or whatever was going on, the mom storms in with a disgusted look on her face, like he didn't wake up to calm and comfort the baby sister who was crying because of the storm and lightning.
He didn't. It's
not his job.
He didn't have that baby. He didn't
It's
want
not
that
his
baby.
job. And you know what? Maybe he was asleep. Maybe he didn't wake up.
No.
It's not his job.
It's ridiculous that crib is in that. God damn it! You made that kid. Put it in your own damn bedroom. Don't put that on him.
Why did
Poor
he go
kid.
back?
No
Why
wonder
did
he wanted
stay
to be
with
big.
Susan.
No wonder.
Susan would have put the crib in his room. Why didn't he go back? Why did he go back? I mean, come on.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God.
What kind of parents are these?
I don't. His dad.
The dad didn't even care. He's gone. We never saw him again.
Maybe he left. He left. The kid left. He left.
Yeah.
He
Father
couldn't
of the
take
year.
it.
This one. Father of the year.
Why the hell? Where did he go? Where the hell was he?
Sean Penn wouldn't have reacted like this. Let me tell you.
I know it's a small part, but it's like 3 a.m. But come on. I mean, for real. Like, I get wanting the dad to be in so that you could give Josh the clothes,
Yeah.
but can't you just have him in another shot or two?
Yeah. At least like him there, like rubbing the shoulders of the mother when the mother's sitting there crying in one of the scenes. Like something.
Give
anything.
Give us something. I mean, come
Him
on.
putting maybe just a shot of him stapling posters to logs, the trees.
Where the hell was he? Just show him. Show him get the baby.
He was at work.
I don't know. They had him with the shark hat on. That's about it.
What if the dad, plot twist, works for Macmillan, right? Josh doesn't know that. Like, he's oblivious. He doesn't know where he works. He works for Macmillan. Towards the end of the movie, he hears the name Josh. It's a big company. You know, they have 50 VPs, right? He hears Josh Baskin. Or maybe he passes him in the hallway a couple times. Do I know you? This guy looks familiar. You know?
Dad?
And like, he's like trying to hide from his dad in the office, you know? Like, there's that whole thing. And at the end, the dad's like, what's that guy? That guy's really moving. Who is that guy? And someone tells him, oh, this guy named Josh Baskin. He's like, Dad does a double take, Josh Baskin. Dad cracks the case. Dad finally learns that it's his son, but big. And that's why he goes back.
Or is dad just like, oh, that's my son's name too.
That's pretty crazy.
Did we miss the bad father barometer here? Did we miss it?
An absent father is a bad father.
Where is this guy?
Yeah.
We're not going to go through it now, but I think we need to note it. We'll note for the record that this guy's on the bad father barometer.
Hang on. Are we sure that that's Josh's father?
Well, that's true too.
It could be the father of the daughter.
They said parents.
It could be a stepdad.
Well, that's true. It could be stepdad. They never said it was his biological father.
Yeah.
But regardless,
he might not give two shits about the kid. We don't know.
That's true.
Could be a great dad, bad stepdad. We don't know.
He'll be his dad when the Mets win the World Series or whatever. The Angels win the pennant.
When the Mets win the pennant.
Yeah.
As he trails off and motorcycle dust flies in the kid's face.
But yeah, when one day I'll have some sound effects for this show, and the bad father barometer will be the sound of the motorcycle. Yeah. That's what we'll have there.
Well, speaking of dust in people's faces, let's throw the dust in.
We got to put the dust in the face. Of here. Look, I love this movie. I know we're ripping on it, and I know we're having fun, and I know we're poking fun at it, but this is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, when you talk about what movies I watched growing up, this is on that list. I don't know if it's on yours. Oh, yeah. Was it on yours?
It was a delight.
I mean, there's so many quotes in this movie.
Holds up.
And I'm curious what the listeners think. Send us an email, thelastrow@gmail.com. Tweet at us. Leave a comment on the Facebook page. Leave a comment on this episode's page on the website. Let us know. Did you guys like this movie? Did you have the same gripes that we do too?
Let us know how far you think Josh got with Susan.
Yeah.
Everyone's out here assuming that they went all the way. I don't think they did. But like, what do you think? I don't know. I think it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic.
And let us know, put not Peter McAllister, put Josh's dad on the milk carton and let us know where the hell that guy was the whole time. But, I love this movie, and I'm curious if others feel the same. It's a classic, they don't make them like they used to, as I used to say. But I love it, like we said. If you're enjoying the show, definitely consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser. Thanks to everyone that's listening, downloading the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, May 26th, and we'll have a new movie for you back then.
See ya!
So what the hell is Macmillan going to do when he realizes his vice president is just missing? Like, hey, where the hell is this guy? I just promoted this guy. Is the company going to fail without him? Like,
God damn it, where's Josh? God damn it.
He's going to have to promote Peter McAllister.
He's going to have to go to the Zoltar. God damn it, give me the Zoltar.